Hey guys, welcome to the Perfectly Wasted Podcast. I'm the host, DullOxide. Today's episode 26 on accountability. You can find all my previous episodes on the Drinking Wisemen YouTube channel, along with my bi-weekly podcast, Brew the Truth. This episode will have timestamps down below, so if you want to look in the description and skip around, feel free. You can find all of my cosplay photos and day-to-day photos on my Instagram, @DullOxide. So, what do I want to talk about accountability for today? Why, oh why would I want to talk about this? Well, the reason is because I feel like a lot of people kind of shrug off responsibility on a lot of different things. And that's not just to say like people I know, people I don't know, politicians, co-workers, things like this. It's practically everyone. At some point in your life, you have pushed responsibility onto somebody else, or you have done something wrong and not admitted fault to it. And even I'm not an exception. Everyone's wrong at some point, and there are no exclusions. So, why are we going to talk about this? Well, I feel like in today's society, this is happening more and more frequently. People are pushing off blame onto somebody else or onto some other problem that they feel like they can use as a crutch, and I feel like it's not okay. So I just kind of want to touch base on why this is not okay and what it can affect in your day-to-day life. So first and foremost, it's going to be something that's going to affect your friends and family. And so you're wondering, well, what kind of things might possibly affect my friends and family? Alright, so really it's kind of a matter of trust. Basically, if you're going and you're doing something just as simple as like, let's say that your responsibility at your home is to take your trash out, and you continuously are missing it. Every single time it's trash day, you're not taking your trash out. You have this responsibility and you're just shrugging it off. You don't care about it. And, maybe you're really, really busy for it and you're making up excuses like, oh, well, I did these 10 other things. Well, the bottom line is that if you were assigned this and you agreed to do this task, then you should be doing it, And you're thinking, well, what does it matter if I take the trash out or don't take the trash out? Well, the reason it matters is because every time you fail to act on something, somebody else has to act on it. And that diminishes their trust in you, all right? So let's say, for instance, everyone has that friend that they invite out to a party and that never shows up. Eventually, what do? You stop inviting that friend to a party. Why? Because it's a waste of time, because no one likes to waste their time. So essentially, the factor is that eventually people will stop trusting you and they'll stop assigning you tasks, which might be what you want. But because they're not assigning you tasks, it means that they can't trust you to do these tasks anymore, even if it's something as simple as taking the trash out. So do you really want to be known as that person that can't accomplish a simple task as simple as taking the trash out? Or would you rather be the person that someone can depend on when they need? And that's kind of what friendship is. So friendship is built on trust, and if people can't trust you to do the things that you're saying you're going to do, then they're not going to be your friends. And you're just going to have a worse life because of it. Because people aren't going to trust you, and you're not going to have very many friends. So, now, this doesn't affect everything all the time. Obviously, people that aren't trusted have friends, but it is a pretty big factor. And, if you think about the last time that somebody asked you to do something that you just shrugged off and didn't do, I can almost guarantee you it was within the last week, because everyone does this. So, really, why didn't you do it, And it could be a variety of different reasons. Everyone has an excuse for everything because no one wants to take blame onto themselves. But once you start reflecting on the fact that you're the one that has the problem here, you're the one that didn't do it because of this problem, that's when you're starting to own up to your own responsibility and accountability, and that's when you're starting to be able to build more trust, even with yourself. So basically, the bottom line is that nobody likes to play the blame game. Nobody wants to be responsible for failure, and nobody wants to push off a failure onto somebody else only to have it come back to them and be known as their failure afterwards, that they lied, basically. All right? Because no one likes being a liar. So, essentially, I think that the best way to do it is just to, own up to it. If you're wrong on something, it's okay to be wrong. Being wrong happens. It happens to everyone. Everyone's wrong sometime. You can't be right all the time. The majority of people that I know think that I think I'm right all the time. And I'm not. I'm obviously not, because no one can be right all the time. It's just an impossibility. So there's stuff that I don't know that I'm wrong about, and there's stuff that I might say that I mean something different. Every once in a while I say something in the heat of the moment and it's wrong. Being able to admit that you were wrong in that case is something that really builds character. It builds trust, because when people know that you're willing to admit that you're wrong on certain occasions, even if that's few and far between, then it's going to build a level of trust. Like, okay, well, yeah, he fucked up, but he was willing to admit that he was wrong on it, and that's something that not everyone's willing to do. So that's going to build up your accountability, and that's going to show people that you're responsible. You're responsible for your own actions. Now, something that people don't understand, and this extends all over the place, all right? From what clothes you wear on a daily basis, to how you act around people that you don't know or that you've just met, to how you perform at your job. And now, none of these things really might seem like they're connected, but the reality is that they are. Being responsible for yourself is a pretty big deal. Being responsible for your friends is an even bigger deal. And being responsible for people that are younger than you and that are impressionable is probably the biggest deal. The reason that I say this is that if you go out and you're with maybe like a younger cousin, a younger brother or sister, or just somebody that maybe you're watching or babysitting, and they're really young and impressionable, they're going to see you do something and they'll probably think that it's okay because you're doing it, because as far as they know, you're the most trustworthy person that they could possibly ever meet. Their parents either told them to trust you, or you've only shown that you're a trustworthy person to them, or really they're just an impressionable child. So if you're out with these type of impressionable people, they're going to automatically think that these kind of things are okay. Now, I've run into some problems inside of some of my friend groups where people start acting ways that they think are okay around people just because they start to get too comfortable, and the end result is that they're not really okay with it. Essentially, they're just kind of pushed out of the group because what they're doing is wrong, basically. So, essentially, at what point do we hold everyone else accountable for these things? You know, the actions of everyone as a whole are being viewed as okay, but then when one specific person does them, then they're wrong. Basically, I'm wondering at what point we hold people accountable. You know, if 100 people do one thing and they're all okay doing this thing inside of their friend group or with family, and somebody that is new to a group maybe witnesses it and then they do it, are they wrong because they're new to a group? Or is it something that the people that initially went out and did the action are wrong in showing this person that it was okay? This is where people start to get confused with accountability, all right? So my actions reflected that I was okay with the actions with everyone else. If you think about it from the perspective of a new person to a group, what are you going to do to try and make yourself more included in a group? You're going to act the same way everyone else is acting so that you're more accepted, all right? And this is a very common thing. So if I go and I'm the new person to a group and I see everyone else is getting hugs when they're leaving and, you know, maybe being really close and saying something very nice to everyone, when I go to leave, I'm probably going to do the same thing because I want to emulate something that will allow me to continue to be inside of this group of tight-knit friends. So essentially, I'm just trying to impress upon everyone that the way that you act in public or even with close friends with new people around is something that you should hold yourself responsible for. So if something happens when you're around a close group of friends that maybe has some new people, or that happens when you're out in public and somebody else sees you treating somebody a certain way and you don't like it, you're partially to blame for this. And I know some people are going to say, well, you know, I didn't ask for this to happen, or I didn't ask for that to happen, and why should I be blamed for something that was completely out of the ordinary? The reality is that at some point, you might have done some action that made this seem like it was okay, all right? And you might think that you didn't do anything special, but the bottom line is that everyone sees things in a different manner, you know? And let's say that you're around people that are drinking a lot, or let's say that you're around people that are easily influential. In these kind of situations, obviously it's going to be much different. When a friend is drunk and they fuck up and do something stupid, how mad do you get at them compared to when they're sober and do something stupid? You know, and now if we apply this to people that maybe are very impressionable or that are new to a group, you know, how much can you possibly hold them accountable when you've made it seem like it's okay? People aren't owning up to something that they should be responsible for. I feel like it's happening more and more in society, and I just kind of want to bring it to light, basically. So hopefully this kind of helped you guys understand like why there are these different little nuances inside of groups, and why sometimes you see people and then the next time that you're hanging out, those same new people aren't around because maybe they feel uncomfortable because they did something that was kind of weird and they got bitched out for it, or maybe they feel uncomfortable because everyone's hanging out in a manner and treating each other in a way that they just don't want to treat people. And There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone, of course, is different, and everyone's comfortable with the things that they're comfortable with. But just keep it in mind, if you're out and doing something, some of that is your own responsibility. How you act in public is your own responsibility. You are accountable for your own actions. Please try and just keep this in mind, because this is something that's going to affect your day-to-day life. It's something that's going to affect your friends. It's something that's going to affect trust. So I'm just trying to bring a little bit more light to it. Please do like, subscribe, and share this. And thanks again for watching. Again, that was 10 minutes perfectly wasted.